Could somebody please make it make sense?
Hey everybody, welcome to Pop of Culture. I'm your host, the Esoteric and Facetious, and this is Pop of Culture, which is my video essay podcast where I speak on pop culture, social justice, and human experience from a Black, bisexual millennial perspective. Everything, and I mean everything I say, should be taken with a grain of salt, as I'm simply a recent college grad with access to a recording device and the internet. With that being said, maybe it shouldn't be your sole reason to critique my views unless it's truly relevant. If you disagree with anything I say, let's have a civil conversation in the comment section below. Before we get into the topic of this video, which is StephCo, I want to advertise my cover channel, The Pop of Culture Sings, where I sing throwback R&B, contemporary R&B, pop music, whatever I'm feeling, whatever you're feeling. So if you want to be down like Brandy, if you're down to click RP 𝙎𝙪𝙗𝙚, then definitely feel free to check that channel out. I'm definitely moving some stuff around on that channel. I'm filming some new content, laying some vocals down, so stay tuned for that. But let's get into the topic of this video. So the topic of this video is the content creator StephCo. I enjoy her content, I watch a lot of her videos, but there is a certain thing that I've seen her do in a few of her videos that I want to speak on. This is not a reaction video because I know she just posted that video about people being negative and hateful towards her, and that's a conversation in itself because she actually left a comment on Melanated Queen, I believe that's her name, Melanated Queen. She did a reaction to Steph a few months ago, and Steph left a comment on her video, and I'll link that video below and I'll try to link it in the cards too. I feel like the video was a lot more civil than Steph made it out to be, and Steph's response was a little bit nasty, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about a behavior I saw in Steph at least 3 times in the last few months that I find a little alarming. I'm not a mental health professional. I'm just a young person who makes videos on YouTube. But I just wanted to speak about this behavior as a fellow content creator and just speak to why I feel like it's a little troubling. So let's get into it. So I watched Steph's video about her feelings about reactions to her channel, criticism of her content, and I agreed with a lot of stuff she said. I related to it as a creator, albeit a smaller creator. I agreed with a lot of what she said, but there was a part that kind of stuck with me. And it was her rationalization of why Lip Gloss, another content creator, was growing and having more success than she did. And one of the things I noticed that Steph did, I want to call out and speak to, not to shame Steph or to be critical of Steph, but more so as a way for us all to reflect and for us all to think about what we do and how we do it, is this rationalization she has of why she can't have certain things or why other people are more successful than her. And I'm saying more successful in quotes because success is very relative. So the thing I noticed in her video was she had this very thought out, elaborate analysis of why Lip Gloss, another Black female content creator, had more success than she did. She basically said, oh, well, the reason why I'm not getting the engagement that Lip Gloss is getting is because I'm an older woman talking about these things. People primarily want to hear about pretty privilege and desirability from younger women. Older women are supposed to have figured it out and resolved their feelings about this topic.
Another way that vulnerability can help you is if you are the right messenger for the message. There are so many times that I've seen young girls, young Black girls, on TikTok, which is still a very, very open platform. So even though, Black women being vulnerable isn't going to be as praised, it's still allowed in a great more sense on that platform. And there's one girl in particular who sticks out to me. She goes by the name Lip Gloss, and she's a young, dark-skinned Black girl who talks about feelings of desirability. She talks about not being seen as attractive. She talks about feeling alienated from men, not really knowing if she can ever be accepted. She talks about a lot of things that were also on my mind when I was around that age and are still on my mind now. And she's very funny, and very quickly she amassed a following of 1 million followers. And what I noticed about her is that there's very few, because I looked for this video, I did some research and I looked through stitches and things for her content, and most of it is praise. It is the highest praise. Thank you for saying this. Thank you for speaking out for us. We love you so much. There was one video that I saw about her the other day where someone was like, if she has one fan, it's me. If she has no fans, I must be dead. I love this girl. And yeah, I thought about it and I said, well, you know what the difference between her and me, because we actually talk about a lot of the same things. Number one, where she is, the platform. Number two, she's like 19. And I think in general, people are more forgiving when a 19-year-old girl is asking these big, hard, heavy questions than when a woman of my age who should already know the answers and be over it is asking these big, hard, heavy questions or bringing these things up. But what I really love about her journey as a creator is there's very little negation of her discoveries. She is validated, she is lifted up, and she's supported by the community that sees themselves in her. And I think it does have everything to do with age, and I think it has everything to do with platform.
One thing I want to state here is I feel Steph oversimplifies the criticism that people have towards her. While there are some people who outright deny pretty privilege or desirability politics, which is done because desirability politics and pretty privilege do exist, I think a lot of the criticism that Steph gets is not about the issue she's facing, because desirability is real. But I think the issue that some people have is her approach to things. For example, she will constantly bring up the fact that a certain percentage of Black women do not find long-term partnership. It's not necessarily an issue that she's bringing up these statistics, but her using these statistics as a way to, I'm not sure how to put it, but basically her using these statistics as this way to, it's almost like she's priming herself for the chance of this not happening. It's like these statistics, it's like she finds peace in them, like she finds comfort in them, because it's like, oh, well, the statistics are already saying this, so if this ends up being my reality, somehow that's okay because it was already in the statistics, it was already bound to happen. Another reason why I think people are so critical of her is because I feel a lot of people understand that desirability is a thing, but I feel a lot of people, they feel, okay, well, desirability is a thing, but what are you going to do about it? That's a lot of the criticism I see towards her content, because people will either see her talking about desirability and pretty privilege, or they'll see her talking about her struggles with dating. But the problem that I see a lot of people having with her is there doesn't necessarily seem to be this discernible growth that we can observe. I'm not saying that she has to drastically change within a short period of time, because change can take a long time. But if we got on the StephCo train a year ago and you're still talking about the same issues in a very similar way and approaching things like dating in a similar way, it's not necessarily that fun to watch, because it's like, if a year ago we were watching you talk about your struggles, and a year ago we were seeing you make missteps, and now in 2022, we're seeing these same missteps, or even bigger and worse missteps. It's just kind of like, part of the reason why I feel a lot of us watch content creators is because we're rooting for them. We want them to win. We want them to succeed. And I'm not saying that Steph can't win or can't succeed in the things she wants. I believe she can, but it's also just one of the things I want to say relating to the criticism is, if you keep seeing somebody make these bad decisions, for example, that story time where she thought she met the love of her life, she literally goes after this man who clearly isn't that interested in her, and she gives him all this time, all this energy, and she claims, oh, it was just for a hookup, and it was, she just wanted to have that time, which is fine if that's what she wanted. But looking at the story time, all these times she keeps reaching out to him, blocking him, reaching out to him, blocking him. It's like, I don't feel all your critics are people who are uncomfortable with women being vulnerable, with Black women being vulnerable. I feel a lot of your critics are people who don't really know what to do in this journey with you, because it's like, yes, we all make missteps. Yes, we all make mistakes. Yes, dating is a complicated thing that we all have to learn and work through, but it's also just kind of like, it's weird because Steph will say these things about how some women may not be quote unquote picked, some women may not get these opportunities for long-term partnership. And when she says stuff like that, I feel like it comes off more as a, well, some people may be seen as more desirable and they may be quote unquote picked or chosen, whereas some people won't. But then when I see her interacting with people like this man in the story time, it's like, I question, is it really about some women not getting chosen because maybe they don't have the certain look or they don't have the certain vibe that people are looking for? Or is it more so your actions are impacting your own ability to attract a long-term partner? I just wanted to challenge that, people don't like seeing me being vulnerable narrative. I'm not saying that people aren't critical of her being vulnerable, but I do think there's more to it than that. So that's what I wanted to speak to. I'm not saying Steph is wrong. I definitely do think there is ageism when it comes to certain conversations. But here's my issue. What I didn't care for is I felt Steph had this curated list of reasons she created in her head for why lip gloss had more followers and engagement than she did, that had nothing to do with lip gloss's actual content, and that had more to do with her intrinsic characteristics in relation to Steph's intrinsic characteristics. I agree, yes, some people are more willing to hear about pretty privilege and dating troubles from a younger woman than an older woman. But at the same time, I feel, as a content creator, you need to take accountability for your engagement and your followers and your numbers. And if you want more likes and engagement and views, if you want numbers like lip gloss's numbers, you need to figure out what you need to do with your content to get from point A to point B. And you're not going to get from point A to point B by making all of these reasons that are related to intrinsic characteristics for why you can't be where lip gloss is. Because here's my thing. I personally feel StephCo could get the engagement that lip gloss gets, or even more, if she figured out what her audience wants and how to deliver what her audience wants. Because there's plenty of people who have lip gloss's numbers and engagement who are 38 years and older. I think tying lip gloss's success to her age and other intrinsic characteristics was a way for Steph to cope with not having that engagement, rather than looking hard at her content and what she could do with her brand. The reason I'm speaking on this is because I feel like this is something a lot of us do. We do this thing where we see somebody else with something we want, and as a way to cope with not having that thing that we want, sometimes we can create all of these reasons in our head for why this person has what we don't have. And a lot of times we don't say, let me look at what this person's doing. Maybe let me ask them for advice. Let me see what they're doing and see what they're doing that I can apply to myself in my life. Let me ask them how they're doing what they're doing and how they're finding success. A lot of times we just get so pressed at this person having what we want to have that we just get upset about it and we get jealous and we get envious. I'm not saying Steph is jealous or envious of lip gloss, but I do think it was a choice to focus on lip gloss's intrinsic characteristic of age in comparison to her own age, and to apply that as a primary reason for why lip gloss has more of a following than she does. And I think that we as people, when we see people that have the stuff that we want, we have to do the work to not just sit in this place of creating this curated list of reasons why they have what we don't. We have to be grown behind adults who say, maybe I should see how many times lip gloss posts on TikTok. Does she use trending sounds? Does she follow trends? Does she come up with her own trends? Does she use the green screen effect? What does she do that is getting her so many followers and engagement? How long has she been on TikTok? How long has she been on YouTube? I feel like those questions where you really look at this person or you reach out to this person and figure out what they're doing so that you can get your numbers like that person's numbers, that's the true maturity. That's the true self-actualization. I feel like with Steph, she was so pressed on these intrinsic characteristics because as long as you're focused on these intrinsic characteristics that neither of you can change, you don't have to hustle and figure out things to do differently to get to where you want to be. And even looking at Steph's content, she started off as a pretty privileged woman. Then she moved more to the dating story times woman. And now she's doing story times. One other thing I wanted to add here is Steph also ended her pop culture podcast. And on some level, I get it as a creator. Like, you're putting all this work in, you're trying to do something, you're trying to make something happen, and it's not giving you that result, whereas other stuff is giving you that result. And so, especially with Steph being someone who's a monetized creator, if making other videos can get you that income that you, one, are using to survive, but also using to continue to expand your brand, your business, YouTube as a business, then why not focus on what will give you those numbers? But at the same time, I kind of struggle with that because it's like, when I see Steph comparing herself to other content creators and creating these narratives and these rationalizations of why other people are more successful than her. And I also see her prematurely cutting off her pop culture podcast that could have taken off in time. I question whether she's focusing on the right things, because it's like, if you truly believe in this podcast, I don't think you should stop it just because it's not getting the same views and engagement. Because my thing is this, I feel if she kept running that podcast, the engagement of that podcast would have grown as her audience grew, because a lot of people love her content. So when we're waiting for some new story time to drop, we'll go through her other videos. I just wanted to bring up the podcast because I feel like the podcast, alongside the constant comparison, they tell me that maybe she's focusing on things outside of what her actual value is as a creator, which is her talent, her delivery, her wit. And I'll get into that in a little bit. And of course, her comedic delivery, her very authentic and conversational nature in her videos shines through no matter what content she posts. So she's always going to get that views and engagement. But I think the issue I'm seeing is the pretty privilege stuff was working, but then she didn't want to talk about desirability anymore because she was tired about people coming at her sideways, which is understandable. But it's like, that was kind of your bread and butter for a while. And then you started doing the dating story times, and that became your bread and butter, and people were loving you for that. But then you decide you don't want to do that anymore. So now you're doing story times, but they're not really related to dating anymore, even though that was your bread and butter. I'm not saying she can't change her content up as she wants to. As a creator, I understand that as someone who creates my own content. But my issue with that is you've changed your niche like 3 times within a year, and you're pressed about other people and their engagement, but you're changing what you're doing every few months. So it's like, it's not adding up. You're talking about why lip gloss is getting more engagement than you, but every few months you change what you're doing. So it's kind of like, I'm supportive of her and her commentary and her content, but I'm just a little confused because it's like, you're comparing yourself to other people, but it's like, you keep changing what you want to do. And yes, it's also commentary, and yes, it's still all about her, but it's just like, I don't know. I guess for me, here's my thing. As a content creator, I'm still kind of figuring out what I want to do. And what I mean by that is, I know I want to do commentary. I know I want to talk about pop culture, social justice, and human experience, different things that impact me, different interests I have, different media I like. I know that that's stuff I want to talk about, but I still feel like I'm kind of figuring out my rhythm, just being on camera, editing, producing a certain amount of videos within a week. I'm still figuring out my formula. So my thing is, as I'm still figuring out my formula, as I'm still figuring out what works for me, I'm not really too much pressed about what other people are doing. Yes, I want to get to a point where I'm monetized, where I'm getting sponsorships, where I'm doing all the things I want to do as a creator, getting multiple streams of income, my brand being bigger than just this channel. I want to get to all of those places, but here's my thing. I'm still kind of gaining my footing where it's like, okay, I've got my setup, I'm editing videos, turning them around, I'm editing thumbnails. Like, I'm still getting my footing where it's like figuring out what works for me and what works for my channel. So I'm not sitting here comparing myself to content creators with over 100,000 followers, people who've been making money on this platform for years. I'm not comparing myself to them because I'm not at that stage yet. And I think my issue with Steph is I feel she's still kind of figuring out what she wants to do, which is why she's changing so much in so little time. So it's like, you're comparing yourself to other people, but it's like, do you even really know all of what you want to be as a content creator? Because it's like your content keeps changing. So I think that's just something I want to discuss with y'all, because I feel like sometimes we want what other people have. It seems she wants what lip gloss has when it comes to her numbers and engagement, but it seems she's not even totally clear on what she wants when it comes to what her channel is going to be. So it's like, you're trying to compare yourself to other people, but your brand isn't even really solid as in what you give and what you deliver to people. Because people are still talking about that dating story time, but now you're not doing dating story time. So it's like, you are a storyteller, but like what you're doing changes so periodically, and you're like comparing yourself to other people, but it seems like they know what they want to do more so than what you want to do. So that's just something I've been thinking about. But the curated lists don't really stop there. That's why I wanted to make this video, but I just wanted to address the lip gloss thing since it was in the last video. I've seen this in a few videos. She'll talk about somebody else and she'll say that she can't have the same social media reality or influence or success that this person does because she doesn't have certain traits or characteristics. This will often be related to her being a black woman, a middle-aged black woman who is single and who is childless. And here's my thing with this. I do think that there are some opportunities that may be catered to mommy bloggers or to couples, but here's my thing. I've seen in multiple videos, she will try to compare herself to somebody who has different characteristics or different background or different classifications than her, and she'll try to act like she can't have comparable success to this person. She'll try to say, oh, well, I can't have the same success that this white girl who is making 6 figures on TikTok.
I did. I had to take it off my phone. But the point is that I saw this TikTok by a young creator named 𝘎𝑪 something. I don't know her last name. I'll put it up here on the screen. And she was talking about how she had been saying that she's made $100,000 in 6 months on YouTube. And a lot of younger creators or a lot of creators on the app were like, say what? And she didn't just say YouTube. She did say as a combination of YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And she made $100,000. And a lot of people who were creating were like, what? Please tell us the secrets. And so basically she said, okay, well, I get sponsorships, and through these sponsorships, I'm able to, just make a lot of money. So it's not just about views. It's about companies paying me to create content for them. And a lot of people pointed out, well, that's because you don't talk about controversial issues. You have a channel where it's set up to learn and to teach people, and sponsors love that. And she was like, fair enough. Fair enough. And some people pointed out that it's also because you're not a Black creator. And so there was some, hubbub around that. And she was like, yeah, I do think it is harder for creators of color, specifically Black creators, to get this kind of love from big companies. And absolutely, my content makes a difference.
Or I can't have the same success as this mommy vlogger or this woman who is married with children.
And there was one woman who I follow on TikTok. She's called the Mom Trotter. I think that's her name. And basically she's a Black woman with a family, and they live in this van or this car. They live in a car, and they've like an RV that they've repurposed, and it's, they travel all over the United States. And she's like, I make $300,000 a year doing sponsored deals with brands and she's like, I just had to learn my worth. And even though I feel like those people that say things like that completely miss the other side of that, which is your value depends on the type of content that you make when it comes to these big sponsors. Even though I know that, when people say that, they're not telling the whole story. In my mind, I was just looking at all of this and I was like, I don't have a lot of value. I'm putting my best foot forward. I'm creating content that I think is fun and that I think is interesting, but I'll never be able to say, I made $100,000 in 6 months.
I do want to take a moment to clarify. I am very aware that I have been fortunate to participate in some form of the, I want to say, sponsorship economy here on YouTube, and I hope to continue to do that in the future. But what I mean, of course, if anyone is confused, are people who are given huge multi-platform deals for long periods of time from brands with tons and tons to spend in advertising capital.
And I don't really know how I feel about this because, yes, there may be some particular brands or companies that are specifically looking to work with married women or married women with children. As a content creator, I feel the sky's the limit when it comes to the success you can have. I feel like when you go into all of these situations saying, I can't do this because I don't have this trait, I can't do this because I don't have that trait, you're blocking your blessings. You're blocking the potential to have these situations. Hey y'all, I'm going to be doing some voiceover real quick. One of the things I wanted to speak about is if you look at all of these clips, you see how Steph says in one way or another how she feels she isn't going to be as able to be as successful as the other person, whether it be the white influencer who makes the non-controversial content, whether it be the mommy vlogger, whether it be lip gloss. And one of the things I'm questioning is when it comes to our goals, when it comes to the things we want for our life, how much should we form our expectations based off of our identities, our experiences, and things of that sort? Because on one hand, I can see how Steph may say, oh, well, I can't get the sponsorships and the engagement that younger women do, or women with kids, or women who are married are, because she's probably looking at the status quo and she's looking at things that have already been done before. But the problem I feel is she's kind of underselling her talent and her ability to deliver a story, because the thing I'm noticing in her comments is there's plenty of married women and women with kids who love her content, who can relate to her. So it's like, I feel like she's not realizing she's entertaining, she's captivating, people love to watch her. So it's like she's saying, oh, well, nobody wants to give sponsorships to single childless women over a certain age. But the reality is people love to laugh. People love to be entertained. People love when people are sharing funny, relatable stories, even when they're kind of cringe at times. So I feel like the issue is, I feel like she's looking at her content as in solely, I'm a single childless woman of a certain age. But the problem is, it's like you're an entertaining, captivating person to watch. So it's like entertaining, captivating people regardless of their identity and experience, can make it in entertainment, can make it on social media. So it's like, if she takes away this hyper focus on identity and background alone and turns it more into a, what is the entertainment value I'm providing, and continuing to provide that to her audience, I feel like she'll get out of this comparison trap where it's like, oh, well, I'm not like this person. It's like, you don't have to be like this person, because that's the thing. I'm watch Drag Race, and I'm like, if RuPaul was out here way back when he started his career saying, oh, well, the status quo is this, and obviously that's kind of different, but it's like, if you base your potential off of the status quo or what's already happening, I feel like you can miss the opportunity, because you could be that person who's doing something different, who's doing something that's new and that's exciting. That's all I have to say for now. Thanks for listening and watching. Have a great day. See y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Like this video if you like this video. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the points I made in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, definitely like, comment, subscribe, and share. That way, even if YouTube isn't pushing my content, those who resonate with it are sharing it so it can connect with others who would enjoy it. Those are some easy, free ways to support a pop of culture. If you want to support this show financially, feel free to send a tip to my Cash App or buy me a cup of coffee, both linked below. All who donate will be featured in the credits of my long-form commentary and cover videos. There are 2 playlists that are going to pop up, one where you can binge watch my covers and one where you can binge watch my commentary. Enjoy. Bye-bye.